Well, good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Thursday, March 21st, 6:44 a.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in, I'm pretty sure, Fort Worth, Texas. I can't remember if I'm in Fort Worth or Irving. I was in Irving a couple of minutes ago. The hotel is a mile away from here, and it's in Irving, Texas. And this is the Landstar terminal, which I'm pretty sure is in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's lots of cities and towns around here. So I'm an hour early, which I'm always early for everything I do because I cannot stand being late. It's like a phobia of mine. I freak out if I'm going to be late for something. I've never been late for anything in my life that I can remember. And I don't know why I have a phobia about being late. So, why am I in Fort Worth, Texas at the Landstar terminal? We'll walk around since I'm here an hour early. I'll show you the terminal. So that's the entrance right there. There's a little guard shack, and it's staffed by someone 24/7. I've never been here when there was not somebody in that little guard shack. Now it looks like they actually have parking spots available, this is only the third or fourth time I've been to this terminal, and this is the only Landstar terminal I've ever been to. And this is the first time I've ever seen quite a few open parking spots. The last two times I was here, there was no parking anywhere. Even these car parking spots up here, the places where the people, they have specially marked parking spots just for class, which I think these truck spots right here are designated for class. Let me see what this sign says. I think it says class parking on the ground. But the car parking spots over there, there's several of them designated class parking. Yeah, it says class parking. So this whole section right here is reserved for people that are here for classes. But last time I was here, I was not here for a class. I just needed a place to park, and I parked in the class parking because there was no other open spot. And there was only like one class parking spot open. But there's tons of parking, well, quite a bit. Let's not go overboard with it. Man, a lot of these are designated class parking. That entire white line is class parking. I mean, it's still pretty packed outside of the class parking. There's not very many spots open. There's some in the bobtail section. A couple of drop trailers there. Step decks. Well, one of them's a step deck and the other one's some kind of specialized something. Every time I see a spot that looks like it's open, it's got a trailer or something in it. There's some open spots right over here. Anyway, I guess we'll circle around the whole parking lot while I'm talking. So why am I down here? Well, I found out yesterday morning at around 11 a.m. that I had to, there's an open spot. Yeah, we're coming up some open spots now. I found out yesterday at about 11 a.m. that I had to take a class here in Fort Worth. What it was I had something. So when you go to Landstar's website, there's a section on the website. Why would somebody do that? There's an entire row for bobtail, and that person is parked right there in a full-size spot. Now, there's some people that are like, oh, if you're bobtail, you should never park in a full-size spot. You should go park in car parking. No, I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to park illegally just because you feel entitled to a truck parking spot. But if there are open bobtail spots, then you should park in a damn bobtail spot. If there are no available bobtail spots, if they're all full, or if the place just doesn't have bobtail parking, then bobtails are just as entitled to a truck spot as any other truck. They should not be expected to park illegally because somebody with a trailer feels more entitled to a spot. So anyway, yeah, it's on Landstar's. If you go to their website, there's a little tab there, a little rabbit. I don't know if you can see him hopping around. He's hiding right now. He's being really still, hoping I don't see him. There, he took off. There's a little spot for compliance events, and it'll let you know when you're close to needing a DOT or a license renewal or anything like that. It'll give you a warning, like a 30-day warning, a 2-week warning, a 1-week warning, or overdue. And I've had something up there that was warning me that I had an event coming up within the next 30 days of a hazmat recertification. I was like, oh, be a little online class. I shouldn't have to worry about it. I can do it while I'm out over the road. So I wasn't really worried about it. And I finally got everything, well, almost everything done to be ready to go back out over the road. And I was like, you know what? I better call and ask them about that hazmat recertification class. So I call them up and they tell me that I have to come in person to a Landstar terminal, which the nearest one to me is Fort Worth. I live in Oklahoma City, 215 miles from my house to this place. It's an all-day class. They call it cabs, so it's not like a Landstar certification, like hazmat recertification class. All of this bobtail parking here, well, almost all of it, is designated as class parking. From this one, I mean, there's still some open regular bobtail spots, but those might not have been open whenever that person arrived yesterday, or whenever they arrived. But this entire row right here, all the way down the end, is reserved for class parking. So maybe that person that parked in a regular spot bobtail wasn't in the wrong. Maybe those two spots weren't there whenever they got here. And what's really weird are those two McKinney trailers right there. Those two short, like, what are those, 28 footers? Oh, we got one of those little expedite things. Where those McKinney trailers are parked at, that's usually where they, that's their designated area for oversized loads. Because last time I came here, there weren't any open spots except like one class spot. And I asked them if I could park right here where these McKinney doubles are parked at, and they said no, that's our reserved spot for oversized loads. So we'll just loiter around in this area while I'm making the rest of the video. I don't want to walk over into the main entrance of the building and have to deal with people walking into the building to go to work. I don't know what it is, but whenever I'm making a video, people tend to come up and talk to me. So I try to avoid being around people when I'm making a video, to avoid people just walking up and talking to me. But yeah, they told me I had to come down here and do this. It's Monday through Thursday, and no appointment necessary. You just have to be here before the class starts. And I was like, damn it. And this was Wednesday. This was yesterday at like 11 a.m. I was like, okay, if I go to bed early tonight, I can get up early in the morning, like 2 or 3 a.m., drive down there, do the class, and then drive back. And then I started looking at the route and saw the mileage on it, 215 miles. I was like, oh my God. that would be like a 20-hour day driving down there and taking the class and driving back. Like, that's not happening. So I asked them if they would pay for a hotel, and they're like, yep, yes, we will pay for a hotel. So I left the house by around noon. I found out that I needed to take the class at about 11, and I was gone by noon. Trailer Utilization emailed me yesterday morning and told me they were stealing the trailer from me, so I had to drive over. On my way down here to Fort Worth, I had to stop by the truck, disconnect from the trailer, and shuffle the tractor and trailer around so somebody could steal my trailer from me, which is awesome, because now I have to deal with trailer utilization and getting a trailer to get back out over the road. I don't really mind that they took my trailer because I've been sitting idle for 2.5 months. That's fine. I can understand Landstar not wanting their trailer sitting for that long. But I am finally to the point where I'm just about ready to go back out over the road. And last time it took me a month to get a trailer. What pisses me off about trailer utilization, and every time they steal a trailer from me, I ask them, why don't you contact the driver and ask them what's going on before you send somebody over to take the trailer? And they're like, that's just not how we do things. I guess that's just like too much fucking common sense. Because they're just creating more work for themselves. If they take my trailer away from me and I need a trailer, then I immediately need them to find me a trailer. And, you know, I've had that conversation with them like every time they've taken a trailer from me. And it just, I don't know. Trailer utilization is one of the most frustrating departments to work with at Landstar. I'm sure there have been people that have terminated their contracts over trailer utilization, especially getting into the drama of the Landstar Mexico operations terminal, the cross-border stuff. You can get stuck without a trailer for several months doing cross-border stuff to Mexico. They can run you out of business. But anyway, yeah, I got this class. I'm supposed to check in at 7:45. It's 6:56 a.m. right now, so I've still got 49 minutes until I'm supposed to check in. And they told me that they don't open the doors until 7:30, so I can't even go into the building until 7:30. I don't think. I think there's actually an entrance that I can go into for showers and stuff. I think there's a little area in there where you can access vending machines and a bathroom and a shower or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, so what ended up happening on why I've been home for 2.5 months, well, if you follow my channel, you know that I take a lot of time off. That's just normal for me to take a lot of time off. But I was hoping to only be home for 1 to 2 weeks. But when I got home, my main thing I needed to do was renew my driver's license. And I have a hazmat endorsement. And it's been an absolute nightmare renewing my license. I'm here today because I have a hazmat endorsement. So what all have I had to do because I have a hazmat endorsement? Let me just explain first what would I have done if I didn't have a hazmat endorsement. If I did not have a hazmat endorsement, I would have had to go home, schedule an appointment with Oklahoma Department of Public Safety. Actually, you know what? I don't even think I have to go to DPS anymore. They changed it to where now, used to get anything done with a CDL, you had to go to Oklahoma DPS. But they changed it to now you can get your CDL renewed at a regular tag agency, which there are tons of those all around Oklahoma. They're privately owned. There's like dry cleaners it'll be a dry cleaner / tag agency. Oklahoma has this really convoluted Department of Public Safety system. It's a lot of it's privatized, and it's really weird. But I would have been able to just drive down and within a few hours walk in somewhere and get my license renewed. And they would have been able to print out a brand new license at that location. I would have had all this done within a couple of hours, and my license would have been good for 8 years. But because I have a hazmat endorsement, what I had to do was schedule an appointment with TSA, wait about a week for that appointment, then go down to TSA, get fingerprinted, pay them, I can't remember how much money, $80, $100 to do a background check on me. And then I had to wait around for that background check to clear, which only took 2 days. Last time it took 3 or 4 weeks. And then I had to schedule an appointment with DPS because I can only get hazmat stuff done at an actual DPS facility, not a tag agency. And I had to book an appointment about a week out for that. And then I get there, and then I find out that I have to take a new hazmat written test, which that was not on the list of stuff that you have to do. I went through the checklist of everything to renew a hazmat CDL, and that was not on the list. But they said I had to do it, so I did. So they put me in for a test, and they told me I was going to have to reschedule an appointment to come back to get my license renewed. And I was like, are you kidding me? And they're like, yeah. And so I went in and took the test. I was done with the test in like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I was back in line to let them know I finished the test. And the person that was going to do my license renewal that told me I had to do the test instead saw me in line. She said, are you already done with your test? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, come with me. And she just took me back there and renewed my license for me instead of making me have to make a new appointment and come back. And so that saved me a week. And then they punched holes in my license and gave me a piece of paper that was a temporary license for 30 days. And it took a month for my license to arrive in the mail. The reason they had to mail it to me is because since I did the background check and I have a hazmat endorsement, they gave me a real ID license instead of a normal license. I think some states are only doing real ID licenses, but Oklahoma, you have the option of either or. But because I did the background check and the hazmat endorsement and all the requirements for real ID, they just put me in for a real ID. I don't know if I had the option of doing the other, but they just put me in for a real ID. And they don't print those out on the spot. They mail them to you. I don't know where they make them. So I didn't want to risk going out over the road and not being able to make it back on time, and like my license expiring, and then I have to spend several hundred or thousands of dollars traveling to my house to get my license and then back to the truck. So I just waited around for the license to arrive. And I thought that it would only take, a few days for the license to arrive, and it took a damn month. Like 3 weeks. I can't remember the exact time. Also, my license was only good for 4 years instead of 8 years because I have hazmat. So by the time I got the license back, I had to get a DOT inspection done on the truck and trailer because all that process took so damn long. I was expecting for that whole process to only take 1 to 2 weeks. I would be able to go out for a month, come back, and then do the DOT inspection and get my truck worked on. I want to do one more winter load. Go out one more month in the winter because the air conditioner doesn't work on my APU, but I have the parts to fix it. But that whole licensing process took so long that I was like, man, I need to get the APU fixed before I go back out because it's warming up. Otherwise, I'm going to be burning a ton of fuel idling the truck. So sorry, something caught my eye. So then I had to go down and get the DOT inspection done on the truck and trailer. And then I went down and tried to fix the APU myself and ended up breaking some stuff. And then I had to put it into the shop for a couple of days and spend about $1,000 in parts and labor getting the APU fixed. But now it's supposedly fully functional. It's the first time I've had a fully functional APU in about a year and a half. And then, after I got all that done, I was like, damn it, it's already like, we're into March. Like, we're a week into March. And I was like, I need to do my taxes. I need to do my taxes now before I go back out over the road. So then I went in and started doing my taxes. And it took me about 1 to 2 weeks to get all of my bookkeeping done and get all my taxes filed. I could have gotten it done in about 2 or 3 days, but I was lazy and I took a bunch of days off. I finally got the taxes filed yesterday at about 10 a.m. And that is when I called about the compliance thing and found out that because of my hazmat, I have to come down here and take this stupid class. I was like, oh my God. I've only got a couple weeks to do it, and I'll get put out of service. To kind of explain the situation to you, I don't think Landstar has any. I don't know where all the Landstar terminals are at. They don't have very many of them, and I don't think they have any terminals out west. And I typically run up in the Seattle, Portland area to the Midwest, back and forth between, like, you know, Dallas, Kansas City, Tulsa, Omaha, over to Seattle and Portland. I don't think there's any Landstar terminals anywhere near those areas. So imagine that I get out and I'm in Portland, Oregon. I can't find a load to get back down here to Dallas. And all of a sudden, my 2 weeks is up and Landstar puts me out of service. When Landstar puts you out of service, you can't book a load. So I would be sitting in Portland, and I don't think there's a Landstar terminal anywhere near Portland. But I would have to go to a Landstar terminal and take this class before they would let me take another load. So I would have to, like, fly from Portland to Dallas, Fort Worth, take this class, and then fly back to my truck. I did not want to be in that situation, and Landstar is anal about policy and procedure. They're not some small company that'll work with you. They have policy and procedure, and that's what they go by. It's very bureaucratic. So now I'm here, and now once I get done with this, the only thing I really need to do before I head back out over the road is get my permit book up to date and do a last order for food to get fresh food in the truck. That's always the last thing I do before I go out over the road is order, you know, I'll get groceries because I want them to be fresh when I go out on the truck. I don't want to put groceries that are about to expire in the truck. And I'm going to have to deal with trailer utilization, getting a trailer. So what I'll probably do is once I get done with this, trailer utilization doesn't work on the weekends. So I'll get home tomorrow or tonight, and then tomorrow I might wait until Monday to contact trailer utilization and get put on the list, because they usually wait a day before they even try to find you a trailer. I've never seen them, or I've never experienced them finding a trailer same day. It's always the next day, the next business day after you request a trailer is whenever they contact you. That or later. It used to take like 6 to 8 weeks to get a trailer. Now they're pretty good about getting you a trailer quickly, but they end up running me all over the place because they don't do their due diligence checking on the status of the trailers. They'll just see that a trailer is available and they'll just say, yeah, you can go pick up this trailer. And they have no idea what's going on with that trailer. They just show that it's been sitting idle for a long time and it's, not assigned to any truck. So you'll get there and it could be totaled. It could be in the shop totaled or something like that. Last time, they had me running around all over the place looking for a trailer. They wanted me to go pick up a trailer at a shop. Well, the first one they sent me to was at a shop, and it was not in any condition to move. So the second, I ended up having to turn around and drive back home. The second one that they sent me to go pick up was also at a shop. And I asked them, I said, did you call the shop and ask them what the status of the trailer is? And they're like, no. I was like, all right, give me the phone number. Or no, I knew the address. So I was like, all right, I'll call the shop. And they're like, no, I'll call them. And I sat around for anyway, I made a video about that. Dealing with trailer utilization is very frustrating. They said that they called them. They lied to me. They did not actually call them, because after they told me I called them, I called and checked on it myself because I didn't believe them. And the person there said that Landstar had not called and checked on the trailer. I asked them. I blatantly asked them. And they said, no, Landstar did not just call us and ask about the trailer. They haven't called us at all today. So, yeah, I can't stand trailer utilization. 7-Eleven. Still got 29 minutes until the front door opens up. But after I finally get a trailer and get back out over the road, something I might do is I might see if I can find a power only run. I don't really want to mess with a dedicated run again. I've tried dedicated runs a few times and they all just suck. I'll go over some of the dedicated runs I've done. Now, one of them is the agent, when I use the term dedicated, he was like, this is not a dedicated run. So it was the Hobby Lobby account. The Hobby Lobby account is not a dedicated run, but I ran that account and it pays absolute ass. And Hobby Lobby is one of the most rude customers I've ever worked with. So I think I've only run that account for like 3 or 4 days. It's like 2 loads a day. I can't remember how many total loads I ran for that account, but back when we were at all-time high rates, I was only making like $1.90 a mile on that run. That's what I was making after all the percentage cuts. I was like, this sucks, because I could easily run at $3 or $4 a mile back then. That's, I was running loads that were paying, $4, $5, $8, $12 a mile on the full rate. After the percentage cuts, I was running at, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think the highest I ran at on a big distance run, I don't do short runs. I don't do like 100 mile, 200 mile runs. I think the highest rate I ever ran at was like around $8 or $9 a mile on a load that was like over 1,000 miles. I think the highest paid run I ever did was a load from Laredo to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I made like $9,000 on that run, and I think it was right at 1,000 miles or a little over. And those were the kind of rates that I could get back when Hobby Lobby was paying $1.90 a mile. Cheap bastards. And then, you would think that it's the people that pay the least that would treat you the best, because they know that, they're screwing you over. And you would think it would be the people that are paying you really crazy good money that would treat you like shit, because they're paying you really well. And they, feel like they can lord over you and do anything they want. And it is the complete opposite. I've experienced this as a truck driver. I've experienced this outside of trucking. I used to work for one of the largest companies in the world, and we did business with pretty much everybody. And whenever little, mom and pop small business would call in, their expectations would be insane. They would have this sense of entitlement, and like they would have our cheapest product. They paid next to nothing for it. We actually didn't make any money off of them at all, and we're spending the most time dealing with them. And then a customer like Google, who we would make hundreds of millions of dollars in sales off of, they would call in and they'd just be like, yeah, whatever you need to do, man. Oh, you need to charge us some extra for that? Yeah, that's fine. They were just like the most easy people to work with. Our biggest customers that we made the most money off of, the ones that spent the most, were the easiest to work with. The most difficult ones to work with are the ones that pay the least. They're the cheapest ones. They take up the most time. That's one of the reasons I avoid cheap freight. I mean, there's lots of reasons to avoid cheap freight, but something I've talked about in my videos is whenever you're dealing with a customer that pays cheap on the freight, you're operating under that business model. That is their entire business model. The security guard is the cheapest that they could find. The warehouse is the cheapest they could find. The dock workers are the cheapest that they could find. That's their business model. So that's the kind of crap you're going to be dealing with. You're probably going to be going to a facility that's not the appropriate size, and you're going to be dealing with people that hate their lives. But anyway, the Hobby Lobby account sucked. There was a dedicated account that I signed up for that was going to be shuttling coal in these, some kind of specialized rock hauler trailer or something. I can't remember. I was going to have to go pick up a trailer from a dealership. But it was supposed to be, I can't remember where it was going from. I think it was somewhere in Alabama. It was like Huntsville, Alabama to Texarkana, Arkansas, or Texas, I don't know. Right there on the border of Arkansas and Texas, somewhere in that area, if I remember correctly. I think I made a video on it. You might be able to go back and find it if you're that interested, and I went over the details in it. But what the deal was that the rate that they put on the load board and the rate that they told me over the phone was, I can't remember what it was. It was like $3.50 a mile after the percentage cuts. What I would actually be making on the load was like $3 or $3.50 a mile. And I mentioned it on the phone to him. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I found several dedicated runs on the board, but they all pay crap. This is the first one that I found that actually pays close to what, the market rates are right now. It still doesn't pay like good market rates, but it's close and it's, consistent. And they're like, oh yeah, we're good at negotiating rates. We get you guys top dollar. And then a couple of days goes by, and then I call them up and I'm like, I still haven't gotten that email with the rate confirmation and all the details of where I need to pick the trailer up and all that stuff. You said that you would send it to me by the end of the day, and it's been a couple of days. They're like, oh yeah, I got busy and this and that and the other, and I'll send it to you in a couple of minutes. So he sends me over the fucking rate confirmation, and only the very first load paid that rate. Me going and picking up the trailer and taking the trailer to Huntsville paid me like $3 or $3.50 a mile, whatever the rate was. And then every load after that paid like $2 a mile. It was something ridiculously cheap. It was half the price of the rate that we agreed on. And I called him up, chewing his ass out about it. And he was like, oh, I could have swore I told you. I was like, no, I would have told you to go, no, I wasn't interested in the load if you would have told me that only the very first load paid that and everything else paid below operating cost. This is a horrible rate. But anyway, that same agent, after I got pissed off at him and told him I wasn't going to do the run, a couple weeks later he sent me an email and called me trying to talk me into doing a dedicated run over in South Carolina or somewhere. It would have required me to get some kind of oh hell, what's it called? Pneumatic system installed on my truck that would have cost like $6,000 or $7,000 to install. And he told me that he would pay for the installation of the pneumatic equipment up front and take it out of my settlements over time. And I was like, hell no, I'm not getting that shit installed on my truck, and I'm not doing it dedicated over in South Carolina. And the rate on it wasn't even that great. And I didn't trust that was even the rate. It was only paying like $2.50 a mile or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm not getting all kinds of crap like that done to my truck for a load that pays crap. I can get better rates just running random crap on the load board. And then I did the Walmart dedicated. I made a bunch of videos about that. That was a nightmare. Walmart treated me like crap, ran me really hard. They abused me as a local driver, just having me run around in the Dallas-Fort Worth area delivering to stores. I was running out of the Sanger, Texas distribution center, which is just north of Dallas, and I was delivering to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then I would grab something in the Dallas-Fort Worth area from like Hormel or something, and I would take that back to the distribution center after I did a couple of store deliveries. They were just using me as a local delivery driver. And then at the end of the week, they complained about the number of miles that I ran and refused to pay me the minimum contract pay. The minimum contract pay. They refused to pay me the minimum. So I said, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm not doing this shit anymore. So yeah, I'm kind of burnt out on dedicated crap. I can't remember if I've done any other dedicated stuff. But right now I'm kind of burnt out on it. I don't want to mess with dedicated stuff. I'll look and see what's on the board, but it's not something I really want to mess with. $7:22, 8 minutes until they open up the door. I don't have any place in particular that I want to run. I looked at California rates, and the rates coming out of California still suck. I don't know why companies are still avoiding California, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but there is a huge problem with the Panama. Is the Panama? Make sure I'm not getting my canals confused here. We got the Suez that's over in Egypt. We got the Panama in Central America. So the Panama Canal has been having issues for the last year or so. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been going on. It's been going on a while. There are two theories as to what's going on. There is one theory that's being perpetuated is that there's a drought, and because of that drought, they don't have enough water to operate the canal at full capacity. The other theory, which I haven't heard in many places, I've only heard this in a couple of places, the main story that the news is perpetuating is drought, because that goes with their climate agenda, trying to bring in a carbon tax. So anything that they can throw in the news that can support their carbon tax, they push those stories. But the other thing that I heard was that they widened the Panama Canal. They made it bigger, so it requires a lot more water than it used to operate. And the lake that they use to raise and lower the water in the Panama Canal just cannot fill up or refill as fast as they're using the water, because they've severely increased the amount of water that they're using. What I think the truth is it's a mixture of both. I think it's probably drought conditions and they severely increased their water usage. I think it's both. But ships are still avoiding California and the West Coast in general, and they're sailing all the way down around South America rather than offload in California. So the California rates still suck. So California is off the table, not going to California. You can still find good paying loads in California that are going up and down I-5 or going out in the middle of the freight desert, going to Colorado or Idaho or Montana or some shit like that. But any loads going to the central part of the country or further east, all of them that I found pay next to nothing. Like $2 a mile or less on Landstar's load board. And you only get 70% of that. So all the loads that I found, almost all of them, were paying below operating cost of most trucks to get you back east. So I'm still avoiding California, which is crazy because my first couple of years in trucking, that's where I did all my running. I did, I would just, any load I could find to get me over near California, even Phoenix. I would deadhead from Phoenix over to the LA area to pick up a load because they just paid so much money. Like you could get loads that were paying $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 or more that were just going to like Dallas. I think one of the biggest paying loads I ever got was a load from Central California to, I think, Jacksonville, Florida, a load of furniture. The full rate on that load was paying, I can't remember how much, $13,000 to $15,000. I think I made like $9,000, $9,500 or something like that after all the percentage cuts. That wasn't the best rate per mile run I've ever had. That was just the best total pay on a single load I ever had. The rate per mile was pretty good, but it was a huge mileage run. I need to spit. Let's make our way to the grass. Sorry if you heard that. So, yeah, am trying to avoid Seattle, but I'm willing to go to Seattle. I don't like going up to that area because there's just no truck parking in the Seattle area. It's an absolute nightmare to find truck parking in the Seattle area. Portland has a lot of truck stops. It's still kind of rough to find a parking spot in Portland, in some areas of Portland, and some truck stops, but you can usually find a spot somewhere around the Portland area. And that TA in Troutdale went almost all reserved parking, so that's annoying because that was my favorite truck stop. And the free spots, they've only got like somewhere around 10 to 20 free spots left, and those are perma-camped by locals. So I think the main area I'm gonna look for is loads to Portland and the central US. And I would love to run up and down the 2935 corridor up to the Fargo area, or maybe even up to like Williston, North Dakota, you know, up into those oil field areas. As long as they have freight coming out of those areas, I don't mind going into them. But I'm still trying to avoid the east. People are just way too crazy, way too aggressive over in the east. There are aggressive drivers everywhere, but over in the east, they take it to a whole other level. Like they are crazy over in the east, especially the northeast. They get insanely aggressive. And I don't want to get into an accident. So, looks like I'm going to be sticking to the central part of the country and the northwest. I'm going to be avoiding California, the southwest, and I'm going to be avoiding most of the east. I'll be willing to run down in the Florida area. I would be willing to take a load to northern Florida, but not southern Florida. Not down to, I don't even think I'd be willing to go to central, the Orlando, Tampa area, but I'm definitely not taking a load down to Miami. We'll just have to see what's on the board. I've got places that I would prefer to avoid, but I don't have a lot of places that I just absolutely won't go under no circumstances. Like there's no amount of money that you could offer me to go there. I don't have many of those. So 7:32, the door should be open. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this, upload it. And maybe I'll make a video on my drive home today. It's gonna be chaos. Class is gonna end at 5. I'm gonna be leaving the Dallas area right at rush hour. That's gonna suck. Hopefully they let us out early, but I don't think Landstar would do that. They're very by the book. They've got to get their class time. So anyway, hope you're having a good one. Bye.